Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. P. I think I may have forgotten to read Finding Langston last week, and if I did, I apologize. And remember, this is about the boy who his mom passed away, and then his dad took him, and they moved, I think, to Chicago, which is a big city, and he had come from a more country kind of atmosphere. And so he's kind of getting bullied, and he misses his mom, and his dad is not, real emotional about it or doesn't talk to him about it. So he's kind of trying to find his way. So he finds the library, and we are going to continue chapter 7. And chapter 7. Langston. Any chance your last name is Hughes? She laughs. And if you remember the last chapter, I think it was the librarian that was talking to him. So he's thinking, well, I didn't get the joke. She points to the book in my hand. Are you named after the poet Langston Hughes? No, ma'am. Just a name my mama and daddy picked out, I guess. Well, he is a great namesake. She stamps a card and puts it in the back of the book and then hands me a card inside a small yellow envelope. This is your library card. Take good care of it because it allows you to come back and check out books. This is due back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? I can keep this book for 2 weeks, I ask. Yes, then it needs to be returned. I don't care now about how many questions I ask. There's things I need to know. Then I can take out more? Of course. In fact, you can take out up to 5 books at a time. 5? He's amazed. I sound like a parrot repeating everything she says. Would you like to make some more selections? No, ma'am, I say. For now, I just need this one here filled with pretty words. This lady said that the Langston who wrote these words is a poet. Seems more like a magician to me, pulling words from my heart I never knew I had. I'll be back, I nearly shout, and she laughs again. I'm sure you will, she says. I walk as fast as I can get home before Daddy and for his questions, but I got questions of my own. I'm thinking so much about Langston Hughes, I get to my apartment before I know it. Daddy's not home yet, and for the first time, I'm happy to be alone with my book. I lie down on my bedspread and open it slowly just as I hear Daddy's key in the door. I squeeze the book between the bed frame and the wall till it wedges in tight, and I jump up quick. What are you doing? Daddy asks, looking at me funny. Nothing, sir, just thinking is all. Well, think over here and help me get these groceries put away, Daddy says. Fridays, Daddy picks up some of our food shopping at the market on the corner. We got an account there when we moved here. The owner, Mr. Fields, is mean as can be, but Daddy says he's honest with his books and he don't charge more than he has to, and that's good enough for him. Yes, sir. Tonight, while we're eating chicken cooked too long and rice not cooked enough, I'm missing Mama's neck bones, gravy, and cornbread bad. Maybe that's what makes me ask him, why'd you and Mama name me Langston? Wasn't me named you, Daddy says, his mouth full. That named all your mama. Why'd she name me Langston? Suppose she liked it. She told me one day, we have a boy, I want to name him Langston, and that was that. You like the name? I asked, looking down into my plate. I like it enough, Daddy says. Wish you could have been named after me, Henry Jr. I laugh then, but Daddy doesn't laugh back. We eat the rest of our meal in silence. Later in bed, when I hear Daddy snores, I squeeze my hand next to the bed and I get the book. The light coming through the front window is enough so I can barely read the words. I turn the pages slow so Daddy can't hear. He rolls over and I quickly hide the book under my bed covers. When the snoring starts again, I take it out. I know I should be sleeping. I know I'm going to be tired tomorrow when Daddy wakes me up, but the words make me turn page after page after page. We'll go to chapter 8. I wake up to Daddy fussing. Come on, son, we got to get a move on. Just like back at home, Saturday is the day me and Daddy run errands. When I roll over on top of my book, I look, but Daddy's back is turned to me, buttoning his suspenders. I tuck the book away and I pull on my clothes. I eat my burned toast, and Daddy gathers up some papers and folds them into his jacket. Out in the hallway, loud music is coming from the apartment next door. Down 2 flights, our neighbor on the second floor has her apartment door open, and the smell of eggs and bacon frying in the skillet on the stove makes my stomach growl. We step around, younger boys playing marbles on the sidewalk. Makes me wish my Saturdays were my own, with nothing on my mind but friends and marbles. We start off down Wabash. Cut through the alley and walk behind the buildings over to Indiana. Out on the sidewalks in front, I can pretend Chicago ain't so bad, but in the alleys and around the back of the buildings, ain't no hiding place for the dirt. We gotta jump over puddles of dirty water and busted up furniture and piles of trash. I hate walking in the back of the buildings, but it's a shortcut. Back home, we didn't see a neighbor for miles. I'll never get used to people living on top of each other. I'll never get used to everybody knowing what time you get up in the morning and what you're cooking for breakfast, and everyone too busy to say a decent morning when you see them on the street. Back home, I had space to breathe. Had to walk down the road a ways to get you to your nearest neighbor, but if somebody got sick or was in need of a hand, folks were there to help before you knew it. I knew I had to act right because someone was always watching, waiting to get word back to my folks. Here in a city filled with people, I can count on one hand how many know my name. First, we go to the bank so Daddy can cash his check, and then he drops off the rent money, and then Daddy tucks in some bills into an envelope and he mails it at the post office. It's the money he mails to Aunt Lena back home. She's all alone with her 3 girls, plus she's watching out for Grandma too. I asked Daddy once why he sends money every week when sometimes it means we gotta go without. A man takes care of his family, is what he said. But I thought, well, ain't I family? I don't mind being outside running errands, even with the day getting colder. Can't stand being cramped inside with nowhere to turn and missing Mama hanging between me and Daddy. Makes our small apartment feel like a closet. Plus, I know when we get back to our apartment, Daddy will fill the small sink with water and soap powder to wash our clothes. The sink in the corner of our room is hardly big enough to wash our dishes, so it sure ain't fit for washing clothes. They never get as clean as Mama could get them with her wash tub. Daddy hangs a rope across the room to hang the clothes until they're stiff and dry, stiff, and hard. No matter how hard Daddy wrings them, they will still drip on the floor. We just gotta shake them smooth because we don't have an iron. Saturday was always Mama's wash day. She'd sort all the clothes into piles and start to wash early in the morning before cooking breakfast. Once we got up, she stripped the sheets from our beds and washed them too. It would take near the whole day to wash, hang the clothes out on the line, and iron them, but I loved the way the house smelled clean with wood polish and soap. And on Saturday night after my bath, when I lay in my bed, my pillowcase worn thin from washing and sun, it smelled sweet. Our last stop is the fish market. Line is out the door, but we line up too, making our way to the counter and leaving footprints in the sawdust on the floor. Daddy likes to have fish on Saturdays, like Mama fried up back home. Fresh porgies dipped in egg, a little cornmeal and flour, and fried in a big pot of hot grease until they're golden brown and crispy on the edges. Time Daddy finished eating, nothing but a pile of bones left on his plate. Mama would boil vinegar on the stove later to get rid of the fish smell, but Daddy didn't bother about the smell in our apartment. And his fish didn't taste nothing like Mama's, but I eat it just the same. Mama used to smile as she watched the bones pile up on her plates. She'd rub Daddy's back as she sat at the table, talking nonstop when our mouths were full, and keeping an eye out to make sure we had enough. It tasted so good I didn't stop eating until I felt sick. Next, Fishman calls out, and Daddy steps forward. Pound of porgies, Daddy says, heads and tails on. Country, someone snickers from behind. I think it's one of the kids from school till I turn and see only grown-ups in line behind us. I look at Daddy, don't think he heard because he doesn't say anything and he doesn't turn around. The fish man hands him the fish wrapped in brown paper. Out on the sidewalk, I say, ever make you mad when people call you country? Ain't no shame in being from the country, Daddy says, not slowing down. At school, I start, but I can't say it. At school what, Daddy asks. Nothing, I answer. We're just about at the 4th floor when I see Mrs. Fulton coming out of her apartment with her shopping cart, and my chest gets tight. I'm so tired from staying up last night reading, I just want to get into bed and close my eyes. Afternoon, Miss Fulton, Daddy says. Afternoon, Henry, she says back, as sweet as can be. I ain't seen Daddy smile this hard since we moved to Chicago. Langston be happy to help you with your cart. Langston would not be happy to help you with your cart. Langston's tired and... Oh, that's so kind. Her smile at me ain't nothing like the one she had for Daddy, so it's back downstairs to the market and back again, her wide behind swinging in my face all the way up the stairs, with me dragging a heavy cart step by step. Time I get back, the clothes are hanging from the line and Daddy's already started frying the fish. I close the door softly and make my way to the bed when he says, "We need to get this floor swept and mopped." I get the broom from the closet and start sweeping, and as the pile of dirt grows bigger, I keep thinking, I'm never going to stay up late reading again. But when the fish is gone, the plates are washed, the floor is swept and mopped, and Daddy is snoring, all I can think of is how much I wish I were back in Alabama, in a house that didn't smell like fish and sound like a honky-tonk on a Saturday night. And how I wish I could hear the night sounds of crickets and feel my mama's soft lips on my forehead. My eyes are heavy, but I still pull out the book from my hiding spot and read. And this is what he's reading out of the book. Folks, I come up north 'cause they told me the north was fine. I come up north 'cause they told me the north was fine. Been up here 6 months and I'm about to lose my mind. I'm not the only one Langston was lied to. No, I didn't read that right. I'm not the only Langston was lied to. Every Sunday morning we walk down the block to church. Not like the church at home, painted white with pews inside. This church got a sign painted out front, says, Praise Tabernacle. Daddy and I sit all the way at the back of the church that don't feel nothing like church. More like a store, but the folks inside are dressed like church folks and praising like church folks, jumping from their seats when the music gets good and the preacher gets to preaching loud. With hats so tall I can barely see up front, but I can hear the preacher shouting from the stage. Daddy brought along his Bible, so we read Proverbs 3:5 along with the deacon's scripture reading. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Daddy used to read his Bible every night for supper, or after supper. Since Mama died, only time he picks it up is Sundays when he heads to church. Got a feeling we're here 'cause he feels Mama would have wanted it for me. But his heart ain't there, and neither is mine. It's like our faith got buried right along with Mama, and now it's covered over with dirt and a tombstone back in Alabama. And we will stop right there, and next week I'll come back and read chapter 9.